Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm making my weekly sandwich loaves, so I decided to make something sweet. So of course I'm going to flour it up. So this video is not about my sandwich loaf, it's about chocolate chip cookies. Now I've tweaked this recipe a little bit from the original recipe that I got from Just Belle's 10. Now I am using a couple of things that she didn't use, and I'm varying the ingredients slightly, so I'm making it my own. So I'm using old semi-sweet chocolate chips. She used something different. I'm using vanilla sugar. She used just regular sugar. I'm using brown sugar that was in the original recipe. I'm using 2 different flours, vanilla pudding, and then my mocha powder, which she didn't use, and Crisco. Now Crisco was the original reason I went looking for this recipe, because I was looking for a cookie recipe that I could use Crisco in. Now I know Crisco spreads, but I wanted one that didn't necessarily spread the cookies, and I had so much Crisco in my fridge that I needed to use up. So this came in perfect. So Crisco or shortening, that was from the original recipe. And then I have salt, baking soda, vanilla, and then I'm going to use my frozen eggs. I need to use some of those out of the freezer. And then I have some butter, which also is from out of the freezer, so I have to defrost those. So let's get all the ingredients together and start making these cookies. So today I'm using my stand mixer to cream the butter and sugar together. You can also use a hand mixer if you have that, or maybe even a whisk. So let's get the butter, shortening, and sugar creamed together, and I will put the recipe in the description box below. So you want to stop periodically and scrape down your bowl, especially with the KitchenAid. You want to make sure that bottom well, the ingredients down there are mixed in. So once I have my shortening, butter, and sugar creamed together, and as you can see, it's a lot lighter than it started out as. And I'm going to scrape down my bowl one last time before I start adding in the rest of my ingredients. So I'm mixing most of my flour and my other dry ingredients together. Make sure they're thoroughly incorporated. Here are my eggs defrosted, and I did add a little bit of water to them because they were very thick. So in go my eggs one at a time, and I make sure the first one is thoroughly incorporated before I add in my second egg. So now that my second egg is thoroughly incorporated, it's time to start adding my dry ingredients. And this is most of my flour. I did reserve 1 cup from my flour measurements, and I'll show you what I did with that in a moment. And this is my salt, my baking soda, my cappuccino mocha powder, and the vanilla pudding packet. So all those I incorporated together. I thoroughly mixed those together before I added them into my wet ingredients. And pretty much up until this point, I haven't made a mess. Do you have a way of putting your flour into your mix without it poofing all over the place? Especially with a stand mixer, I have not perfected this technique. And I don't have one of those splash guards. Maybe I should look into that. But at this point, things get a little messy, I will say. But what is baking and cooking without a little bit of mess? So fold in or mix in your flour as best as you can, and try not to be like me and get it all over the place. So in goes my flour. So I have a question for you. Can you over mix cookie dough? Now I know you can over mix like cake dough or what are those things, Dutch babies or whatever they are. But can you overmix a cookie dough? That's my question. That's what I want to know. Between how do you get flour in without it going all over the place, and can you overmix a cookie dough? That's the 2 burning questions I have for this flour it up video. So if you have the answer to that, put it down in the comments. I would really like to know. So now that I have my first portion of flour all mixed in, I'm going to show you with the flour that I reserved and what I did with the chocolate chips. Now you can put as many or as little chocolate chips as you like. So with that cup or so of leftover flour, I'm going to pour in my chocolate chips and pour them all over the counter. But pouring your chocolate chips, I find if I coat them with a little bit of flour, they don't sink to the bottom of the cookie. So I'm just going to add those flour chocolate chips into my dough here. And that's pretty much it. These came together in about 10 minutes, not including the defrosting of the butter and the eggs. So here is my dough ready to go. And at this point, I would chill my dough, but this is not supposed to spread. So I have my cookie sheet here with my Silpat, and I'm using my little smallest scoop. So I'm going to scoop some dough onto each. I have 2 of these. I'm going to do one, and I'm going to put it right in the oven. And then I'm going to do the other one, and I'm going to put it in the fridge for about a half an hour while my bread bakes. And on this one, I'm going to put probably about half the amount of dough because we don't need all these cookies in my house, and I'm going to freeze them. These freeze really well. So if you want to freeze them, you can bake them off another time so you don't have so many cookies around that you are tempted to eat all at once, like in my household. So I'm stacking these really close together because they're going to be frozen. I'm not going to bake them this way. So here they are. These are the ones I'm going to cover and put in the freezer. These are the ones I'm going to put directly in the oven. And these ones right next to it are chilled. And these have been in the freezer for about 20 minutes, a half an hour or so. So I'm going to get these into the oven. And yes, I have a little one that his job is to put a little chocolate chip on each cookie. So that's why you see a perfect chocolate chip on the top of each one. So I'm going to bake these off. So here they are out of the oven, 350, about 10 minutes. My oven runs hot, so I did 8. As you can see, they're a little bit brown on the sides, so 8 minutes was perfect for me. And they look about the same. The ones that were in the freezer are these ones, and the ones I put directly in are the other ones, and they look like they didn't spread either way. So this was definitely a plus. But what I did notice, if you can see there, it looks like the very center is not quite cooked. But I think if I leave them on the pan for to cool, they might cook all the way through. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna put them back in the oven, and I'll let you know. So here they are. They are cooled. They are really good. That center that looked like it wasn't quite cooked, I did leave them to cool on the cookie sheet, and the warmth from that did cook them all the way through. I checked them before I put them on the cooling rack, and they were cooked all the way through. One thing I will do differently next time I do this, I will brown my butter. Now, I've done that in the past with my other recipes, and I think it adds to the flavor of the cookie. And this is definitely one I will do again because it uses up the Crisco that I have in my fridge. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless, and remember, stay safe and keep prepping.